Hello my friends and welcome back to the rabbit hole. If you don't like intros, timestamps and links are in the description box below. But for the rest of you, hi, happy May. As you may have seen in Friday's video, I've got big plans for the month of May. I'm really excited. We are finally doing something that I have had so many requests to do. As at least some of you know, I've been reviewing skincare by the brand for 6 years? Is it 5, 6 years? Something like that on this channel. And people ask me all the time, okay, but how do you feel about that brand now? The brand you reviewed 5 years ago. How do you feel now? The hilarious reason this is difficult for me is that I am an overthinker. You know, the reason you see me come on screen barefaced after these reviews is so you can evaluate how things went on my skin. As you see though, I'm wearing makeup today because we are not doing a full review. Instead, what I'm doing is how do I feel about these products now? I think the best way to do this series is to divide my thoughts by product into a category of loves, a category of likes, potentially a category of it's okay, and the category of dislikes. And for our very first video doing this, we are starting with perriconemd because it is so clear in my mind. I know exactly how I feel about these products, and it is, hilariously, divided by line. I have a few more things I want to say about the perriconemd brand before we proceed further in this video. First of all, and so importantly, this brand is expensive, but this is a brand where I fully believe you are intended to buy this brand on sale. This product retails for $149. I fully believe the brand expects you to pay $75. And while some amount of people watching this may not care how much they pay for products, I think most people do, I suspect. So again, it's a brand I think you can buy, always at a discount. I would never pay full price for perriconemd, and I never have. And by the way, almost everything in this video was purchased with my own money. I did receive some products from a buzz agent, I think. It's really just this chia oil that I didn't even end up liking, so there's that. Alright, let's get into this video. I do want to start with my loves category, and as I mentioned, it's an entire line, and most of you already know it is, in fact, the cold plasma line. According to the perriconemd brand, this is the line that contains vitamin C ester. Now again, we have a video talking all about what it means to have a vitamin C derivative. It's not exactly the same as vitamin C, but there may be instances in which you might prefer it. This line being a very good example because the next ingredient they focus on is copper tripeptides. So I see the website says these repair dry skin for a dramatically firmer, smoother, younger looking complexion over time, but we've talked about the research with copper peptides, and what stands out the most in my mind with copper peptides is that they have wound healing properties per the studies that we've seen. The catch with copper peptides is that there are concerns around what you combine those ingredients with. There's concerns as to whether you could end up with free copper in your skin, which could potentially be bad, and so that's why it's suggested to not use copper peptides with vitamin C. But vitamin C esters are not vitamin C. Omega-3, 6, and 9, I do believe lipids are especially important for people with dry skin. DMAE, I'll talk more about that in a moment. Growth factor peptide. So the Perricone brand does their own thing with growth factors, but this product does also, or this collection, does also contain other peptide ingredients. So I feel that what you end up getting with the cold plasma line is this entire line that helps to address dryness. It helps to address dullness in the skin. It helps with any kind of irritation your skin may be dealing with. And again, because copper tripeptide is a tricky ingredient and you want to be careful what you combine it with, I've actually always liked using 4 of these products together. So I'll just go ahead and put up on the screen my routine using these. I don't use a specific cleanser when using the cold plasma collection, and sometimes I'll use just a gentle toner or essence, but where it's always started for me is with the serum step. That is, of course, where you see the most concentrated blend of those ingredients, exactly as you would expect in a serum. The eye cream is a beautiful mid-weight eye cream. I know a lot of people really, really love this product, and I enjoyed it as well. Then we have the Intensive Hydrating Complex, which definitely feels like a moisturizer that is geared towards more mature, more dry skin. And then finally, there is a neck cream. I do suspect that this one has been reformulated because I noticed on the Ulta website it had the word new since the last time that I purchased it. So just as a heads up, I'm not entirely sure what the new ingredients list is on that product. Again, I've really liked using this system together. I have a difficult skin type, and so anytime we are talking about wound healing and repair, I'm probably going to like the system, and I love that I can use these products together and not worry. Is it okay to use this moisturizer with copper peptides? All the guesswork is taken out for me. However, the reality is, you see I only have 2 products from this collection left, and that's because I've really been thinking a lot about this. I think there are so many options in terms of skincare at all budgets, at all price points, and when it comes to this main premise of copper tripeptide, wherein you are getting not just these anti-aging benefits, but also wound healing, I just don't think copper peptide is the only option anymore. And I'll even show you exactly what I mean. So we'll put the list of ingredients back up on the screen. So, vitamin C ester, well, I use the Bubble Daydream Serum. I like this one specifically because I do actually still have acne in spite of my age. And personally, I like that ingredient in the mornings anyway, in conjunction with my sunscreen. Omega-3, 6, and 9. You've got all kinds of oil options in your hefty moisturizers or just in an oil. DMAE, that's been a bit of a controversial ingredient for a while, but the whole premise behind it is to increase production of acetylcholine in your skin so that your muscles are working more effectively. And I just got to thinking about that one day and realized, rather than continuing to buy products with DMAE, couldn't you just buy a microcurrent device if you really are interested in, toning the muscles, as they say? We're going to come back to that same question throughout this month. We're going to revisit Medicube and their, in particular, EMS device. And as for copper tripeptides and other peptides, well, we've got a list of K-Beauty peptide products and also the Ordinary's peptides. I have videos on both of those if you would like to know more. And as for the repairing aspect of copper tripeptides, who knew I was going to pull out liquid gold? And I guess this is all to tell you that at this point, while I like this system, and if you just want to buy this for the convenience of having all the work done for you, again, I get it. I totally get it. I've done that myself for a while. But at the same time, if you're over here doing the math on all of these products and you went, that is still several $100s, even with the 50% off, it is. It is, and that's why I'm saying I don't think you just have to stick to this line. Years ago, I did a video, I'm so sorry, there's no way I could find this video, it's so old, but years ago I did this video talking about how if you love expensive products, but you can't afford them anymore, maybe something changed in your budget, you can always look at what's going on in that formula and figure out how to replicate it for less. I've had to take my own advice lately. I really have, things are difficult. It shouldn't be as difficult, but it is. Anyway, I hope that all made sense. Again, I'm not saying this is not a good system. It is. It's just an expensive system. That's really all it is. If it is a system that you love and you will never quit, please know I'm just sharing my opinion here. Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments below. I appreciate when people do that. Good or bad, if you hated this system, because I've seen some people say this did nothing for them. But for me, it did. It's just expensive. Oh, one more thing. I do want to comment on the smell of these products. There's something faint to my nose, but overall, this is a fragrance-free system. There are no essential oils, and it kind of just smells faintly of skincare to me. I gotta tell you all a story. For those of you that hate story times, just jump to the next category because we're done with cold plasma, mostly. But I do want to tell you what happened. So last week, I had some comments on this channel where people were so shocked that I didn't smell a scent in a certain sunscreen. My nose is not good. I've said that a lot of times. I am no fragrance review channel over here. But y'all had me worried. Y'all had me worried. I was over here going, I don't smell anything, nothing in this sunscreen. So I told my partner, I told her, I'm worried. I think I gotta do a COVID test. And so she says, okay, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna help you out with it. And I'm over here like, oh, I can do the mixing and, you know, I can do that. And she's like, let me help you. So we do the whole test. The timer goes off. I'm about to get up and she goes, no, let me check it. I'm just baffled by how helpful she is being. I'm like, this is so sweet, right? It's so sweet. I mean, I can certainly handle this, but she's really nice. Maybe she's worried about me. She picks up the test, she looks at it, and she goes, Alice, you are COVID-Aladine. And I kid you not, my facial expressions, if you know the movie that this is referencing, I did those exact facial expressions. It was a... And then it hit me. I went, Ara, did you just help me out with this COVID test for a bit? Moving on to my likes category. My likes category is the Vitamin C Ester collection. There are two products in particular that I have gone on to repurchase, although I did notice that one of them has changed. Again, I think perriconemd is a brand that might reformulate a lot. Now, according to perriconemd, they are using vitamin C ester for brightening and smoothing, and they claim that this is because vitamin C is fat-soluble and easily absorbable for maximum antioxidant benefits. Again, we've talked a lot about the differences between L-ascorbic acid and the vitamin C derivatives, and I would say they're all kind of different. What I don't like to do is to assume that you are directly getting all of the reported research on L-ascorbic acid when you use a vitamin C derivative, because first of all, if that is your premise, then you are strictly looking at the conversion of these derivatives into L-ascorbic acid. And that can get really tricky with some of these. You're going to get a much higher conversion rate with some than others. But the main thing is we actually see different benefits depending on the vitamin C ester. So in my mind, I tend to just kind of think of them as their own ingredient. I did use a couple of these products in getting ready today, so I'll go ahead and show you the video of that. First of all, the Triple C and Ferulic Brightening Complex 20%. I like this product. I don't love how it smells. It does have fragrance, but it doesn't really smell like a fragranced product. You kind of do pick up the unusual smells of vitamin C. But I like the product. It's fairly cosmetically elegant. It's not a runny vitamin C serum, which a lot of vitamin C serums are. It's easy to use, and I feel like it is good for overall brightening. But again, I just don't know if there's really any purpose in focusing on this being at 20%. 20% what? There's a couple vitamin C derivatives in here. Which one is at 20%? Or what's the blend, rather? It just kind of ends up feeling like a number that's thrown out there when, again, we don't really have a ton of research on any of the vitamin C derivatives. Now listen, the Photo Brightening Moisturizer Broad Spectrum SPF 30, I actually really like this. It is a product I wasn't sure how to feel about for a while because it's not using zinc oxide, it is using titanium dioxide, a mineral filter that I wasn't sure gave good UVA protection until recently. I was reading some studies about this ingredient and I discovered that we figured out new ways to formulate with this so that you are actually getting good UVA coverage. Now you got to keep in mind with all moisturizers that are also a sunscreen, you have to apply a lot of the product, that same quarter to half teaspoon for the full face and neck area, depending on the size of your face. If you underapply, you are not getting the SPF marked on the packaging. That is so important to keep in mind with all sunscreens, very much including sunscreen moisturizers. But I do like this. It's not drying. It is so non-irritating. I actually really, again, I like titanium dioxide as a filter. It was not until recently that I trusted it. Oh, by the way, how have I not said this? I'm intentionally wearing hats more often in my videos because they're great sun protection. It's a great added boost of sun protection, especially for the scalp. I don't think any of us are putting sunscreen on our scalp, but you can wear a hat. Just wanted to put that out there because I've been intentionally doing it, and yet I forgot to mention it. Good job, Alice. And then moving along, we have what I think I'm going to call my okay category. First of all, a little bit about the collection. What you need to know is that this is a collection based on glutathione loosely. Glutathione, first of all, we don't have a ton of research about that. We do know that it is an antioxidant, not unlike your vitamin C ingredient. So in some ways, I really just see this collection as an alternative to the vitamin C ester collection. Again, we've talked a lot about how antioxidants really aren't hard to find in skincare. If you have a skincare routine, chances are you're getting antioxidants in your skincare. But PerriconeMD does this thing quite a few times where they use their own unique ingredient, and that makes it even harder to look at the primary literature to draw any conclusions. This is Acyl-Glutathione, which they are saying can help to reduce the look of wrinkles and creases by replenishing fragile skin. Well, that sounds great, but how and why? And we don't know because it's their own thing, so we don't really get the explanation for how it's doing that. Is it acting as a humectant to plump the skin? Is it encouraging collagen production? You know, there's different ways to achieve this end goal, and I think what's important to keep in mind is you don't need all of them. You know, if you are stimulating collagen production with, say, peptides, if that seems to be working for you, then you might not also need another ingredient that would also stimulate collagen production. You got a ceiling on these kind of things, right? So I guess that's my problem with this collection, is that it feels redundant, and yet the marketing behind it, of course, it's always going to make it sound like it's the best thing since sliced bread. Is sliced bread even that great? What a strange expression. I mean, I like hamburger buns. What are those? You ever have a sandwich on a hamburger bun instead of sliced bread? It really shakes things up, doesn't it? So let's talk about these products. The chia oil. Here's what I don't understand about this chia oil. If I want a chia oil, The Ordinary has such a nice 100% chia oil, and I do think that is a great carrier oil. I do. I also think with oils, a little goes a long way. It takes me forever to finish an oil, even with my dry skin. So I'm just not really understanding what the appeal would be to go for a product like this. You've also got some fragrance added into this product. You've got your acyl-glutathione, but as we talked about, we don't know too much about that ingredient. So it just ends up being a case of, if you told me, all right, Alice, you can have one product. You can have this or The Ordinary's chia oil, I would choose The Ordinary's over this. I took care of all of my targeted treatments in my serum step already. Now we're later in the routine. We're at the moisturizer and oil step. I just don't need that much at this point other than oils to help with softening my skin and a nice occlusive moisturizer, and we're done. I'm not really going to go off on the samples. If you buy from PerriconeMD, at some point you will end up getting some samples. I think they're fine, but this collection for me, it's just not my favorite. I am going to choose vitamin C every time over especially Acyl-Glutathione. Again, just my opinion. Always share your thoughts in the comments below. It's time to end this video on the category that I do not like. So before we get into this, let me tell you, the reason I do not like the high potency collection is the smell. We'll look at the ingredients in a moment. I gotta talk about the smell first. I've known for a while that I hate this entire collection because it does something in my brain where it unlocks some kind of scent memory that I really don't like. You know what I'm talking about. And it just hit me. It just hit me. Thanks to this nutritive cleanser here, I figured it out. The entire collection, to my nose, smells like commercial hand soap. Commercial hand soap has changed in smell. I don't know if you all have noticed. It's got a generational commercial hand soap smell to it. This smells like the hand soap that was used right when all of those automated faucets were appearing in public restrooms. You know, you'd put your hand under it, but it wouldn't work. You would go. They're better now. They're much better, and the soap smells different. But at the time, it smelled exactly like this collection. Now again, I don't have a great nose, so I went to Ara and I said, Ara, smell this. What does this smell like to you? She gave a very different answer She said, and I quote, "Incense at a thrift store." I love how particular her scent descriptions are. I can smell it. Incense is a little more smoky to me, but I can also smell what she's talking about with, you know how thrift stores have that smell to them, which we learned recently is apparently skin cells. Anyway, that is 2 for 2 in this household of people who do not like the smell of this collection. So, that's all to tell you. It's very strong. Very strongly scented. If you do not like smells in your skincare, I suspect you won't like this collection. But as always, there's more going on. They're saying this is for lines, wrinkles, and enlarged pores, and their star ingredients in the high potency collection are alpha lipoic acid. It's an antioxidant. I'm telling you, antioxidants are everywhere in skincare, so you really have 3 lines that are all kind of doing the same thing. But again, you know, it's another antioxidant where there's not a ton of research for it. There's just not. So if you enjoy that ingredient, that's great. DMAE, we already talked about that in the cold plasma collection, and I already told you, you know, different ways to accomplish a goal. But believe it or not, there's actually even more reasons I don't like this collection. So I'll show you the application of the moisturizer. I mean, this is the High Potency Classics Face Finishing and Firming Moisturizer. It's a nice, thicker cream. Again, there's a lot of thick cream options. I'll link you my old favorite thick creams. I also, of course, like the Nimbuzzin. And they also have a Face Finishing and Firming Tinted Moisturizer, SPF 30. And this one does not work out for me because it's got a problem that exists in a lot of tinted sunscreens. This is another one of those products where it doesn't reveal its true colors until you buff it into your skin. And for me, once I do, it is way too orange and too deep for my skin tone. So I need to pass this along because I'm just not going to use it. It's just, it looks like I applied foundation from the year 1998 when I used this. So for me, that collection is just a miss. It is the most affordable collection, but again, it's just not the only way to get antioxidants, nor is it the only way to get that kind of thicker texture that admittedly is characteristic in pretty much all of Perricone's products, at least everything I talked about in this video. And my friends, that brings us to the end of my re-review of PerriconeMD. Let me know your thoughts. As always, let me know what brands you want to see coming up in this massive look back that we're doing on this channel. We are doing Kopari this Friday, and I think next week is when we'll do the Medicube devices, but I'm open to suggestions. So that's all coming soon. As always, thank you all so much for watching. If you found this video helpful, make sure to like and subscribe. Have a wonderful week, and I will see you all next time.